Ronaldo, too weak to survive. When Cristiano Ronaldo first arrived at Sporting's academy, the dream felt closer than ever. For the boy who had left Madeira behind, this was supposed to be the place where talent turned into destiny. Yet very quickly, reality showed him a different side of professional football, one that was cold, demanding, and unforgiving. Among the many young players at the academy, Cristiano stood out, but not in the way he wanted. He was fast, technical, fearless with the ball at his feet, but physically he looked fragile. His body was thin, his shoulders narrow, and against stronger opponents, he was often pushed aside with ease. Some coaches began to worry. At that level, football was no longer just about skill. It was about strength, endurance, and survival. And Cristiano, despite his passion, seemed to lack what others had naturally. Whispered conversations started to follow him, doubts about whether his body could handle the demands of elite football. Training sessions became more intense, not just physically, but mentally. Every challenge felt like a test. Every fall felt heavier. Cristiano could sense it, even without being told directly. He knew he was being evaluated, not only on what he could do, but on what he might never become. At times, he returned to his room exhausted, staring at the ceiling, replaying the day in his head. He asked himself questions no child should have to face so early. Was talent enough? Was desire enough? Or would his dream end here simply because his body wasn't ready yet? The possibility of being released from the academy was real. For many young players before him, that moment had already arrived quietly. A short conversation, a polite goodbye, and a dream cut short. Cristiano understood that if he failed here, there was no guarantee of another chance. But instead of breaking him, that fear lit something deeper inside. He realized that if his body was the problem, then his body would become the solution. From that moment on, he stopped seeing himself as weak and started seeing himself as unfinished. And without knowing it yet, this struggle would shape not just his physique, but his entire mentality for years to come. From that point on, Cristiano Ronaldo began to see training through a different lens. It was no longer just about improving his touch or his speed. It became a fight for survival. Every session carried a silent message: prove that you belong or prepare to leave. While others rested after training, Cristiano stayed behind. He watched older players lift weights, studied how they moved, how they protected the ball with their bodies. He realized that strength wasn't only built in the gym, but in the way a player carried himself under pressure. His body resisted at first. Muscles ached, legs burned, and exhaustion followed him into the night. Yet, instead of slowing down, he leaned into the pain. To him, discomfort became a sign that something was changing. Meals took on new importance. Sleep became a part of discipline. Recovery became a responsibility, not a luxury. Cristiano began to treat his body as carefully as he treated the ball. If football was his future, then his body was the tool that would carry him there. Still, progress was slow. There were days when coaches continued to question him. There were moments when opponents overpowered him, reminding him how far he still had to go. But Cristiano no longer saw these moments as setbacks. He saw them as evidence of what needed to improve. Inside him, something hardened. He stopped comparing himself to others and focused only on becoming better than he was the day before. Each small gain mattered. Each extra repetition counted. The fear of being released never fully disappeared. It followed him like a shadow. But instead of running from it, he used it as fuel. He understood now that talent opened doors, but resilience decided who stayed inside. And slowly, quietly, the boy who was once considered too weak began to change, not just in body, but in belief. As weeks turned to months, the changes in Cristiano Ronaldo were subtle but undeniable. He didn't suddenly become the strongest player on the pitch, nor did he overpower opponents with brute force. Instead, his body began to respond to the work he demanded from it. He ran with more stability. He held his balance longer under pressure. And most importantly, he stopped shrinking in physical battles. Where he once hesitated, he now challenged. Where he once fell easily, he now fought to stay on his feet. Coaches started to notice, not because Cristiano demanded attention, but because his presence became impossible to ignore. His intensity in training stood out. His refusal to give up on any duel caught the eye of those who once doubted him. There were still difficult conversations, still moments when decisions felt uncertain, but the tone had changed. Cristiano was no longer viewed as a risk. He was becoming an investment. What truly impressed the staff was not just his physical improvement, but his mentality. He trained as if his place was never guaranteed, as if every day could be his last at the academy. That urgency shaped his habits and sharpened his focus. While others felt relief when selected, Cristiano felt responsibility. He understood that survival was not the end of the journey, it was simply permission to continue. In private moments, he reflected on how close he had come to losing everything, how fragile dreams could be at that age, and instead of fearing that truth, he embraced it. It reminded him why comfort was dangerous and hunger was necessary. The academy that once questioned his future now watched him grow with cautious belief. Cristiano Ronaldo was no longer just trying to prove his strength, he was proving his worth. There came a moment when Cristiano Ronaldo realized something important. The academy was no longer testing whether he had talent. They already knew that. What they were testing now was whether he could endure, whether he could grow without losing himself. Matches became more physical. Opponents targeted him, knowing his past weakness. They pushed, pulled, and challenged him early, hoping to break his rhythm. But Cristiano no longer responded with frustration. He responded with intelligence. He learned how to use his body more efficiently, how to protect the ball, how to anticipate contact before it arrived. Strength, he discovered, was not only about muscle, it was about timing, positioning, and belief. In games where he was knocked down repeatedly, yet he stood up each time without complaint. No gestures, no excuses, just focus. Slowly, those moments changed how people saw him. The thin boy was no longer easy to intimidate. Inside the academy, conversations shifted again. Coaches spoke of his discipline, his mindset, his willingness to suffer for improvement. They began to see something rare, a player who treated adversity as instruction. Cristiano understood that the danger of being released taught him a lesson many players never learn. Comfort makes you careless, pressure makes you sharp, and he chose sharpness every day. By now, the idea of sending him away felt different, not because the risk was gone, but because letting him go would mean losing someone who refused to quit. And in that refusal, Cristiano Ronaldo was carving. In the end, Cristiano Ronaldo was not released from Sporting's academy. There was no dramatic announcement, no moment of celebration. Life simply moved forward. But what remained with him was far more important than a contract or a place in the squad. The fear of being deemed too weak never truly disappeared. It transformed. It became discipline. It became obsession. It became the quiet voice that pushed him to train harder, recover better, and demand from himself than anyone else ever would. That period shaped him in ways statistics could never show. It taught him that talent alone invites opportunity, but mindset decides survival. That physical limits are temporary, but mental limits can end careers before they begin. Years later, when the world saw Cristiano Ronaldo dominate defenders, outjump opponents, and endure challenges that broke others, few remembered how close he came to being dismissed as insufficient. Fewer still understood that the strength they admired was forged during those early doubts.